I reckon sometimes they put the old precision team to shame. Okay, so heading off now on their warm-up lap. And this will be interesting for them. They haven't seen the track since this morning. Oh, the girls have come out to cheer them along. Don't distract them, girls. They've got to concentrate on this race. But yeah, this morning there was no real rubber down on the track. Things will have changed a lot. Conditions have changed. Well, it'll be interesting. The temperatures now are probably pretty much similar to what they were this morning because we started fairly early out here. But we will wait and watch and get them to settle themselves back. They'll come back, form up again.
And we've got a couple of scratchings here just before we start looking here. David Lyons is out.
That's not good news.
We're also told Bobby McGee, who's with us here, has brought this information to us. He's not running either. And also Alan Smith is the third non-starter for this
he was
HQ
the one
race.
that wasn't looking too good before, so that's a bit of a worry.
Bobby McGee, is that a stage name, Bobby?
Janis Joplin once included, I think, your name in a song, Bobby.
Yes.
Charlie Pride.
He was the inspiration, is that right?
She used to sing, "Oh Lord, won't you buy me an HQ Holden?"
That's the one. Now, all the guys are lighting up. We're not talking about smoking. We're talking about those headlights are on. All the guys in the field have decided, yes, it is probably prudent to have them on so people can see when they're approaching, and a good idea.
It's so the lights also bounce off the back of the car in front of them and gives them like a radar beam. I'll get in trouble. They'll tell me off for being silly.
Well, this will be a very spectacular start. We don't often see night racing well, it's certainly in Adelaide like this. We haven't seen it for a while, and this will be quite spectacular to see.
Well, I think it's part of the reason why they've put this on. You know, the GTP cars are going to be just magnificent out there with all those different sorts of cars. I don't think they quite expect to be this dark for the HQs. Things have been running a little bit behind schedule, but that happens in motor racing.
Hopefully none of these drivers, Anne, will have night blindness of any kind, and hopefully the bright colours and signage on the cars will help them through if they do.
Well, that's why you paint it bright, but you notice the front three cars are red.
That's right, they go faster.
Red cars
That's why
go faster.
Yeah, told me. I should listen. Okay, not long from a start now.
Just wait till they all come through and form up. So grid down to a mere 37 cars. But it's still quite a hefty grid out there. Just a couple...
sneaking through.
Yeah, that's the car of Alan McFarlane. He'll get himself settled.
Only, by looking at the program here, only 4 out of this huge field of the cars are driven by people other than South Australians. Yeah,
I don't know quite how that worked out. Normally the invitation goes out. Whether our guys all got in first or something, I don't know. But it's interesting. Just been told it was by invitation this year, but I bet there's going to be a lot of door knocking next year saying, I want my invitation now.
Yes.
I wonder how much it would cost to get your invitation if you start bribing the right people early.
I reckon. Suggest such a thing.
Don't know, Anne. We'll just buy that one.
Shame on you.
Oh, there's money being offered up here. No, excuse me. It wasn't taken, folks.
That's all right. It doesn't affect the results of this race.
Well, no, that's true.
But we're waiting. Peter's just checking the last couple of cars, checking that they're all clear. We've got our little horn to say, ready, guys. So we watch. We've got red light on, and we'll wait and see and watch the jump.
Yep, they're away.
Pretty even out there. We've got the two just gently closing in on each other, and they are the cars of Holmes and Haley. They head down into the first corner, the field punching up.
Bit of a nudge. Bit of a nudge just up there. I hope they get through.
Oh, no, that's just a cosy little touch as they come through. And nudges when you go off the track.
Here they come.
Watching, oh, this is going to be interesting. We've got plenty of lights ablaze here, but they are still running side by side. Interesting as we watch the lights, and it's Haley who's just going to get his nose in ahead of car number 9 of Holmes. And I think it may have been the red car then of Bruce Heinrich, who's tucked in for third. Now we've seen Bruce is also a very wily driver. We're watching the rest of the field, and most pleased to say that all the field is coming through nice and cleanly on the first lap, so that will be a bit of a sigh of relief for not only the organisation but all of the drivers out there.
We were saying earlier that it's till now, and hopefully it remains so, that a remarkably incident-free day.
I think because it's a new track, people are treating it with a fair bit of respect, and they also know there's still a lot of 2 more days of racing. You don't want to waste your chances on the first day. But watching them slide through, I can see Bruce Heinrich's been knocked back. Sorry, Collier's been knocked back into 4th placing. They're starting to spread out. You will see that, and it's to be expected. You've got a big time difference amongst those cars, but there will be lots of battles. Not only watch the front, but keep your eye on the battles that develop all the way through the field, and they're often equally as exciting, if not more. Interesting to watch some of the lines as they come through here, some of them taking a very tight inside line, hoping not to get their nose knocked off.
Now, and I think Neville Haley, the Victorian, is showing off a bit because he's the only car that hasn't got his lights on. And he's at the start of the field.
Well, he's going to sneak up and jump on
that.
What about the guys with high beam on? Is that considered cheating out?
Oh, definitely. You flash your lights at them.
Okay, what's the order now?
That's
What's happening?
Black ball flag, meatball flag, which either is someone who's got problems or it's a bad sportsmanship flag. It's used for a couple of things.
It could be the lights.
Don't know. I'd like to... We'll see if we can get a number turned towards us. I don't know whether Peter is going to turn a number towards us. No, we won't be able to find that one out for you, but there may be someone who will call into the pits pretty soon, next time around, and just have something checked up. It's one of those flags that basically says come in and listen to what you need to be told and find out. But watching the rest of the field
Someone
moving.
very, very sideways there, coming back into the Victoria Park racecourse there.
And who said they don't go sideways?
Well.
But yeah, these guys will run as close as they possibly can because they're a controlled formula or controlled category. They don't want to let the front runners get too far ahead. They need to stay as close as they can to really keep in contact. They know with 8 laps it's going to be looking at brakes again, and some of them will conserve the brakes a little more at the beginning or at the end. It just depends on their driving styles. But Haley's still got those lights off, and these cars are spreading 4 wide right across the track. They're going to sort themselves out. Car 9 of Peter Holmes just sneaks in. I don't know whether he was able to carry that move out, but the cars, as I said, they are 3 wide going through some of these corners.
Yes, we're told that Mr. Holmes is through, so there you go.
Now we're watching them as they come through, and yeah, Peter Holmes now, once he gets in front, he's going to make it fairly difficult. He's pulled out a couple of car lengths already. Haley might need to turn those lights on and say, I am still here. Next car back is that of Bruce Heinrich. He will keep right up with those front runners. He may leave his charge until a little bit later, and just try and pick up the other one, Philip Collier and John Pengelly. Now, John will be absolutely wrapped being back up there. We've told the story of his previous exploits, so it's great to see him back out there. We'll be looking for a second win at this track. The car's swerving now, partly to get the better line, follow the things. Oh, that's...
Hard to see who that is from that angle.
Yeah.
There he is, 97.
Looks as though it's sort of more of an excursion. The car's still looking reasonably even, so yeah, he's just rejoining the track. And that's the trouble too, with a field as big as this, you've got to wait for your space to get on, because if you push yourself on, you can be in serious trouble. So these guys will work hard. So those times, for those of you who are interested, we've got Holmes with the fastest lap of a 1:52, Haley with a 1:54. We've got lots of dirt and dust down there.
What's happened there? Someone may have gone off there. We'll just see the top of Hutt Street there. A lot of dust and...
bit dirty too, that one.
Have to wait and see.
As I said, Holmes, Haley, Heinrich, Collier, Pengelly take out the top 5. Then we go back to Keller, Cavallo, Corey, McFarlane and O'Shaughnessy for the top 10. Times in the 1:52s. Qualifying time this morning was 1:51. But that was on the first lap. I'm just waiting for my screen. That's got another little hiccup, so we'll try and get a better time to you when that comes through. I don't think they were doing 108s. Would be nice to think so, but...
They'd love to be doing 108s. It'd be very exciting out there at that speed.
It certainly would today.
Yeah, a lot of slipstreaming, as in other categories, to get the best advantage on the under braking and that sort of thing.
Yeah, and just really to keep in contact, to start steering the person up in front of you. Now, this is interesting. We have a black flag out there, and that's pretty serious. That does mean you've got to come into the pits, find out, and probably, I would say, a 10-second penalty. It's one for the front 3 cars.
Well,
turn it around, guys, and then we'll be able to find out who it is.
I think it may be Haley's lighting problem, Anne, because
perhaps, yeah.
His back lights, his rear lights are working, in fact.
And
Yeah,
headlights
his headlights are on now,
Oh,
so
they are too.
I don't know. Just a little frustrating we don't have straight access to race control. We'll be able to dig that up for you. We'll have to work on that one. Holmes, though, was still 152s, and we're still having problems with this screen, so I can't give you the exact times, but placings have hardly changed. We've got Holmes, Haley, Heinrich, Collier and Pengilly still that top 5. Gap between Holmes and Haley was a 107 last time around. Oh, still more smoke. I would take guess at this stage that would be brake smoke. Just
I think there was
working
actually
really
dust on
hard.
the corner there.
But these front 2 guys are making it fairly difficult. Heinrich's had to drop back a little. He's about half a second behind the front 2, making it a little bit difficult for him to cling on there. And still Collier in the pink and black car, looking very resplendent out there. Pengilly's still holding down that 5th, and then we start to get a little bit of a break.
There's 2 groups, aren't there, Anne? There's a couple of...
It will happen according to times. If we go through the times, the front 5 are running within 1 second of each other, and then there's go back to another group of 54s and a few 53s tucked into there. So it really depends on, part of it is driver skill, part of it is how much money they have to spend on engines as well, because that does make a difference, and also where you actually end up on the grid to start with. So it'd be interesting to see how these moves come about.
Well, we haven't seen the black flag repeated, and no one's actually come in, so maybe they've decided that was the problem. It was the light. We're told that it was the lights,
Yeah, it's a little bit sneaking up in the dark. Now, those times, Haley is down in a 151.5, so he's the first of the cars to be in a 151. Heinrich following pretty close behind him with a 151.9, so that's a fairly impressive time, especially this time of day. It's starting to get colder. The track temperatures will be getting colder, and these guys don't want too much cold out there for those tyres. They need every little bit of help they can get. They run a control tyre, and so they need as much grip as they can get.
Okay. Still only the 2 in the 151s, Anne, and all the rest doing pretty well, really, considering, as you say, the temperature's dropping.
Well, it's interesting to look through. We've got probably the slowest car out there is a 201, so that's not a huge difference when you look at 37 cars being out on the field.
None of them are getting very loose. I mean, they're all going through those corners pretty well. They're not taking any chances.
Well, they're still taking care, and they know those concrete barriers do an awful lot of damage to any HQ. But at this stage, you're better off driving neatly. If you can stay neat, then you've got a better chance of making up ground, whereas you start to hang the tail out all over the place. It does slow you up. It's been proven by a lot of drivers in the past. The neater and straighter you can be, the faster you are.
Gee, that's a great picture, those lights ablaze and the track starting to light up now.
Magic,
As the sun sets, it really is a beautiful sight to see them go round.
Looking wonderful. But those front 3, those are red cars. We told them they'll have to go and paint the cars red with...
Doesn't make our job any easier in the dark.
Well, actually, out there are 3 cars, the City Dismantlers cars, and they all have identical paintwork.
Okay.
Fortunately for us at the moment, they're fairly well separated out. Holmes also has dropped down into the 151s. So he's into a 151.9. Still, though, Haley the fastest. He was a little bit slower that time around. He'd dropped back into just over the 152.1. So dropping back marginally, but he's got a difficult position too. Holmes just has to watch the back of his car. Haley's got to watch Holmes's car and Heinrich at the back of him. So he's got to work that little bit harder and watch where everyone is going. And you can see that Heinrich is in the 151 still. He doesn't have to worry so much. He's picked up a little bit of a gap between he and the next car through, which is still that of Philip Collier. And he can concentrate only on the front car. You know, obviously they'll watch out for behind, but that's where their focus and their energy is. Oh, John Pengilly getting very dirty and dusty down there. Makes a beautiful colour scheme, but not the fastest way to go around that track.
And with the fading light, you don't want to drive into a dust screen. You don't want something, might be something hard metal in the middle of it.
Yeah. Just watching a little bit of spark coming off one of the cars there. Maybe just a bit of body roll or something like that. Bit unusual though.
They don't seem to be upset. A lot of the guys are clipping the curbs. They're not upsetting the balance of the car a great deal. They seem to be, you know, coping with that.
Yeah, I think they're only just going just over the edges, so just to give them a little slightly wider corner. We're lucky here that the edges aren't too bad. There are some tracks where the edges are basically ditches, and you really don't want to end up in those. But yeah, see, too far out and
yep.
you end